bring something to your attention, something about green jobs, which is part of the conversation we have tonight. I'm going to quote 3 different numbers by 3 different organizations, all of them showing the potential of what we have. The World Economic Forum says about 10.3 million new jobs globally by 2030 will be coming from green jobs. Deloitte says 300 million green-collar jobs by 2025. And FSD Africa says 3.3 new green jobs in Africa by 2030. We're coming from the global scale to Africa. But what about Kenya? That's something we're going to be talking about in a bit or in other conversations. But the key sectors that are going to be driving these jobs is, of course, renewable energy, e-mobility, agriculture, construction, and manufacturing. And of course, one more thing that I wish to share is that the regional highlights from the FSD report of 2024 say that the top countries for job creation in Africa are South Africa, Kenya, and Nigeria. The greatest potential for work in this sector. And with us is a young man who's already got not just a tiptoe into the game, but an entire, you're 10 toes into the game, and is doing great things for our continent. Good evening, sir, and how are you doing?
Hi, thank you. How are you doing?
Absolutely great. Would you be so kind as to tell us, in brief, who you are, what amazing things you do, and then we kick it off.
So thank you so much for having me. My name is Joseph Nguthiru. I am an Obama leader in 40 Under 40 Africa. By profession, I'm an engineer, but by practice, I'm in the green economy space. I run 2 startups, one of them called Hyapack, where we manufacture biodegradable plastics out of water hyacinth, and the other one is called MC2, where we are using AI as an early warning system for telling KFS where deforestation, charcoal burning, and wildfires happen.
All right.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Thank you so much.
The one thing a lot of people are asking, okay, so this guy found a way to create something out of green jobs. Is it viable? Are you making something out of it? Beyond impact, are you making a living out of it?
Interesting, because the word green jobs has the job aspect. You can't talk about green jobs without talking about employment, and employment means money. And so the thing is, you've mentioned like a lot of good numbers, but how do we as young people tap into those numbers and we become part of the statistics? So when we say that we're creating, 10 million green jobs by this year, how do you become part of those green jobs so that we stop saying that we have a big unemployment rate? How do we make sure that we match our skills to tap into those aspects such as you mentioned, the renewable energy, EVs, electric vehicles that is, and so on. So there is money out of it, basically because you see, like for example, this week, countries like the UK literally shut off the coal power plants. So that means that you create a whole new opportunity for the renewable space. You're seeing a lot of legislations going into the importation of vehicles such as electric vehicles. So then that means that there is money for you to become like a mechanic for those vehicles.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So the opportunities are endless.
Endless.
But first, let's go back to your own story.
Yeah.
Talk to us about what actually inspired you to pursue a career in climate technology, and how has your journey shaped your understanding of green jobs on the continent of Africa, or even in Kenya?
Yes, so by profession, I mentioned I'm a water and environmental engineer. And there was this time we were on a class trip with my classmates to Lake Naivasha. Then our boat got stuck because of this invasive weed called water hyacinth surrounding our boat. And while we were there, then we went back to school and we now did a project on water hyacinth for the final year project. And then ICPAC happened to see it because we posted it on Twitter, which before it was X.
Right.
Yeah, and that's how the journey started. And the project became a startup, and the startup became a whole business. And the idea is, if we can use our skills and if we can use our talents to create something that not only gives us opportunities but also local communities and also impacts the climate positively, then that's the whole definition of green job, then that's how you create lives and livelihoods for people, especially those who are living below the in poverty. That is, yeah.
Right. And I know you've touched on it a little bit, but would you care to, from where you sit, in your view, in what ways have you seen green jobs redefining the traditional career paths that a lot of young people in Kenya are used to? I mean, we're indoctrinated to expect this kind of job and that kind of job, and these are the jobs that are prestigious, and these ones are better than the others. How is green jobs redefining this entire pipeline and path?
Interesting, because before me coming here, there was this story you were running on ABSA, right, and how they were saying about the sustainability goals and agendas they're having. What that tells you is, if you're studying finance, or if you have a dream, you're a young person, you have a dream, you're good at math, and you have a dream of doing businesses and finance, then you should be looking at how does this climate financing work? And how can you learn that so that you become valuable? Because the next person who will be interviewing you as a fresh graduate out of a business school will be asking you, what is your opinion about climate financing? Mm-hmm. So you need to know about that. If you're good at something, let's say like agriculture, think about how do we reduce food waste? Mm-hmm. A third of the food produced globally goes to waste. So if you can find a way of how you can reduce that, or you can find ways on how you can improve food storages, then that goes into also the green jobs. Mm-hmm. Talk about transport. How do we make sure that our drivers get skills of riding electric bikes and driving electric vehicles? Also goes into the green skills, because you don't get jobs without skills. Mm-hmm. So you first skill people, then people get the jobs out of the skills. And just goes to tell you of, for example, let me talk about fashion. Right. You have so much mtumba, so much waste also going into that. How can we repurpose this? How can we create better systems? We have good examples of businesses in Kenya like Takataka Solutions trying to create better waste management systems. That also goes into the green jobs. And we can basically redefine any space, including yours. How can you use your platform? How can you use your voice? And you're here on media, people are watching you. How can you use your space to advocate for more sustainability? How can you hold leaders accountable? The next leader who comes into this space, ask them, what are they doing in their legislative area or in their system, whatever small thing they're managing? Right. What are they doing to ensure that their sustainability goals are met, and how are they doing about it? We have a lot of recently, we've had a lot of this clamor going into carbon credits. You know, it is the right time for young people to learn, how does this work? How can we tap into it? How can I make my grandmother back at home get some money out of this thing people are being given because of planting trees? Right. You know, and the good thing is that this information is out there. You know, we have AI that now you can consult on anything. So. Mm-hmm. I think opportunities are limitless. Yeah. I love that. And I mean, you did say something quite profound. You said we can't talk about jobs without skills. Mm. From where you sit, once again, what specific skills do you think the youth of Kenya need, and then the youth of Africa who are watching need to develop right now to be able to tap into those millions of opportunities that await them? So first, I don't think the education system teaches us enough about it. In my civil engineering career, no one taught me about sustainable buildings, sustainable roads and everything else. We just taught how to do the normal concrete and everything else. Yet, construction gives a lot of the high emissions because of concrete, cement and steel industries. So you need to look outside your curriculum, you need to look outside your books if you want to get the skills that are necessary for this. And as well, that goes also for soft skills, you know, and other things like there are so many initiatives that have events happening. And these events, such as we recently had the Africa Climate Summit, free entry, you know. How do young people attend such things? Just attend, listen, get to know what the ecosystem is talking about, because that's where the future is going. Whatever you're doing right now is unsustainable if you don't put in an aspect of climate change, because the biggest problems that face Africa, or that need to be addressed by Africa before the end of this century, in my opinion, Number one, poverty, and number two, how do we manage climate change? How do we adapt to it? Because we are having this effect. One way or another, we are being affected. We're having floods if you're living in Nairobi. If you're living up country, then we have drought. So how do you use your space and your little knowledge and background to get something else? And again, you can't learn from school, so go online, learn what people are doing in that ecosystem and tap into the same.
Right, and so they say imitation is a best form of flattery.
Yeah.
And you did mention a few of these examples, but I want you to actually now deliberately share some of the most impactful examples of innovations and projects that are happening in Kenya and around the continent that are more in line with what we're trying to do. Talk to us about the ones that really inspired you, the ones that made you want to jump into this, with the hope that somebody at home will be listening and be inspired.
Yeah.
Hand over the
baton.
Inspiration. Correct.
So let me first hand over the baton from Higher Park.
Right.
Because of what we are doing is to try and redefine sustainable packaging. And the Basigo, you know Basigo, they are doing a lot about electric buses. It just tells you, if you are studying engineering, then study how these buses are going to be made. If you are in this system of TVETs, there is so much being taught about mechanics. So learn how you can repair these vehicles, because the next batches that are continuing to being imported, a lot of them are being electric vehicles. So
right.
Yeah. So there's Basigo, there's Takataka Solutions, which I happen to mention. They're doing a lot on waste management. We have also ventures like Africa Climate Ventures, who are doing a lot of the financing and the carbon credits and everything, and climate financing, that is. So see how that is working out. Organizations like Jacob's Ladder are doing a lot about it, the same, but in media space. So see what they are doing, and if you want to become a media personality in the sustainability world, you can tap into similar ventures. So I think in every vertical sphere there are successful models that you can copy and emulate, Steve Jobs was famous for coining the word that they shamelessly copy at Apple.
Right.
Shamelessly copy. And that's the idea. What's the worst that can happen, After all, you're just creating jobs for yourself and for other people.
Excellent, excellent. You didn't talk about education, and education clearly plays a big role in how young people are equipped to step into the so-called job market. In what ways would you advise stakeholders in education to tweak their learning systems to be able to empower the youth of this generation and the next to take advantage of the opportunities that exist?
Wow. So much in that area. We can spend a whole day here. But I guess the first thing is to teach successful models in school. Right now, if we start talking about climate change, your average viewer will only think about planting trees, which is a good thing. We plant trees, and that's so good for microclimate. But there is so much more. Today I was visiting Forest Farm, which is a really good, successful model of agriculture. And What did you see there? Oh, so this model of farming that they have there is implemented, borrowed from Brazil. And they've done this intercropping of different kinds of crops that are going to grow under the same spaces, and in a way that is going to be sustainable for the soil and gives maximum output per square meter over any other regular farm. Yeah, you should go there. If you haven't gone there,
I'll make a
just
point
Google
of it.
them.
Forest Farm.
Forest Farm.
Got it. Folks at home, Forest Farm.
And if such a model could have been, was or is trained in schools, yeah, to remove that traditional mindset, because the funny thing, if you Google right now, and you can try Googling it at home, Google right now agriculture Africa. then go to images. The image you're going to see is that of a woman holding a djembe and probably with a kid at the back.
Yes.
Or they're farming with a djembe and there's a small kid. Google the same, agriculture but Europe, agriculture Europe. You're going to see tractors.
Yeah, mechanized equipment, irrigation. And
beautiful stuff. Yeah. Google agriculture US, the same thing, And just goes to tell you of how much we are being left behind, with all these technological things. If we are depending so much on agriculture and our populations are continuing to increase, so we need more food to feed us, that's the backbone of our economy. And that's where we should start from. How do we make sure that we have proper irrigation systems? How do we make sure that we have proper food from farm to plate? That seamless thing without wasting a lot of food going bad and everything else. And that's where we start, Let's learn such systems of supply chains and everything else. How do we make companies sustainable and reduce their carbon footprint? Or how do we sell the carbon credits on this case, because there is kind of quote-unquote free money over there.
That's right.
Yep. How do we create ventures that tap into that? Another good example of companies in Kenya is Octavia Carbon. Octavia are doing some really amazing stuff in CDR, which is literally like getting carbon out of the air and putting it away.
Guys, this is not Jabba. This is real things. Listen, I'll tell you for free. This conversation, I like to say this sometimes when something is really great, is bigger. The conversation is bigger than the time that we have.
Yep.
My director is telling me we only have 3 more minutes to go, but I want to give all those minutes to you. From your heart, if there's something that you really, really wish to speak about, to share with the people of Kenya, we will call you back here to have more conversations. I can see we can break it down and address the different aspects and give them the time that they deserve. But I want you to speak to that camera right there.
Okay.
I want you to speak from your heart a message that you want to give to the young people of Kenya now and the people who are watching to you now. What would that message be? The stage is yours. I'll step.
Oh my God, okay. 3 minutes of fame.
Take it away.
So there is a lot that is happening, and do not allow to be left behind. And also importantly, do not take no for an answer. Learn what is happening in other countries. See what is happening in Brazil. Look at what is happening in US. Look at what is happening in China and every other place. And those solutions can be implemented here in Africa. And we stand at a really interesting time where we have the solutions because of we've learned, we are the most learned people of our generations in Kenya. We have all these resources next to us. We have whatever resources you have are the same ones that startups in Silicon Valley have. We all have AI, free for all. We all have access to the internet. So can you capitalize on that to make sure that you're making meaningful things, if not only for green jobs and green economy, then use that to build something for yourself. Because the truth is, the government can only create employment opportunities for only so much. We don't have, the country is broke. We don't have the luxury of creating employment in every vertical for everyone. So can you try in your own space, learning what new is happening in other places and how can you create a new job opportunity, not just for you, but again for the people around you, because at the end of it all, we shall be remembered because of the impact that we create. Thank you.
Absolutely. How can you beat that? We shall be remembered based on the impact that we create. I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you, Joseph.
Thank you
for coming.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
And please come again.
I will.
Ladies and gentlemen, MC2 and Higher Park.
Yep.
Higher Park. Google those organizations. Google every single thing you've heard in this conversation. And I certainly hope you've been inspired. You've got some insight tonight to take away into your little corner and digest and figure out what you need to be remembered by. What impact do you want to leave in this world? My name is Victor Muyakane. I've been joined by Joseph Nguthiru, who is a climate tech engineer and a CEO of 2 different organizations making an impact. And from all the people that made this conversation a reality, we wish you a good night full of God's blessings, and we hope you go out and make some impact. Up next is VAR, your weekly supercharged sporting action program. Right after this, we'll be right back.